Welcome to the Author Spotlight podcast by Morpheus Publishing, an exciting new podcast hosted by Justine Martin, CEO and founder of Morpheus Publishing, a division of Justine Martin Corporation. Justine is an accomplished author, publisher, writing coach, and illustrator. She will guide you through the captivating journey of bringing your words to the world, crafting stories that matter, tales that inspire, and books that make a difference. In each episode, Justine and Morpheus Publishing will spotlight a new author who has published an amazing book in genres such as personal development, self-help, children's picture books, and memoirs. Through the help of Morpheus Publishing, these authors have turned their dreams into reality, and now, you get to hear their stories. Join us on this journey as we explore the world of writing, publishing, and the incredible stories that come to life through the Author Spotlight podcast.
Welcome back, listeners, to Morpheus Publishing's Author Spotlight. Today in the studio, I've got with me Jackie. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Justine. How are you?
Yeah, good. Now, Jackie's written a book called Endurance, and the byline is A Mother's Insight into Workplace Tragedy. So, Jackie, this is a hard subject for a lot of people to talk about, and I can't imagine that it's any easier for you. So kudos for you for actually writing the book and getting out there and now speaking about it. I've got a series of questions. If any of them are too difficult, just say that you don't want to answer that one. It's perfectly all fine, and I'm sure our readers will understand, or listeners will understand as well. So let's get into it. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
So take us back to who you were before everything changed. What did life look like?
Wow, starting with the hard-hitting questions. I guess I was a really outgoing, confident young woman. Life at that stage, for not only for me but for my young family, including my husband and my kids, life was perfect. And it really was. Some people sit there and say, no life is perfect. But I beg to differ, because I did have a perfect life. I'd been through, tragedy quite a number of years prior to the incident, but we'd gotten through that. We'd come out even stronger than we were, and life was really, really good. I certainly didn't expect what was next on the cards.
What made you decide to tell your story now? Because it's been a while.
Yeah, I guess a couple of different things. When I went through my health struggles when I was 21 years old, I said to my husband, I really need to write a book, and I really need to get it out there because, people need to know that it happens to everybody. And obviously you'll read about that in the book. But, Lyndon was really supportive and everything like that. And I knew I wanted to write a book then. Obviously, life got in the way. We were busy. We were at that stage when I'd gone through what I did. We were in the midst of planning a wedding. Then we were having children. Then we were raising children, and life just got in the way. And I didn't know where to start. So that was probably the biggest thing. And then back in 2018, when I lost my husband and everything happened then, I remember saying to my mum, I need to write a book. I need to get it out there and make people aware that safety can go wrong, and I need to tell my story. And again, I wanted to do it. Obviously, at that stage, we were going through an investigation, grief, raising children on my own, and then the whole thing, I didn't know where to start. Fast forward to last year, I met Andrew, he heard my story, and he said, I can help you, I can point you in the right directions and everything like that. So he actually mentored me into actually getting my book written and getting it out to the world.
Well, we shall be forever grateful for Andrew in doing that. because, oh, wow, what a story it actually is. Can you share what happens in those early days of shock and grief?
You are completely shut down. You are a shell of your former self. And honestly, you're trying to get through hour by hour.
Minute by minute, I would say, Jackie.
Well, yeah, even minute by minute. You know, when you've also got on top of that trying to be a parent to your young children who have just
And
lost.
how old were your children?
8 and 10 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So really hard ages for them to understand what had happened.
yes, definitely. But I was still trying to parent them, trying to support them in their grief. And I've never lost a parent, so I don't know how to support someone who's lost a parent while I was grieving the loss of my husband. It was a very difficult time.
I can't even begin to imagine. I mean, I can a little bit in that I have lost my partner, and how you function to still parent beats me, because I was an absolute mess and I hadn't been even with him as long as what you were with Lyndon for. So do you ever sit back and think, wow, I've come a long way?
I do. I'm really proud of myself in a lot of different aspects because I had no choice but to step up to the plate. There was a lot of things that I used to struggle with, you know, doing things on my own, you know, like it sounds really, really pathetic, but I used to struggle with driving because it was always Lyndon's job. You know, whenever we went on big trips, I would always go out and get in the passenger seat and he would always go out and get into the driver's seat, and we never questioned it. That's just what he did. And then, of course, all of a sudden, I've got to do the driving everywhere. And I drive quite a bit for work and everything like that. So that was a huge obstacle for me. It's, you know, I look back at that and I think, wow, for me, that's a real huge achievement for what I'm doing for Lyndon. You know, that's a huge achievement within itself. I sit back and I look at the kids, you know, and look at how much they've grown and everything else. It's bittersweet.
Yeah. I can feel that. And especially, you know, there's a lot in the book. I mean, you don't hold anything back in the book.
Yeah. No, I tried to say it how I was feeling, but, you know, tried to put a bit of a softer side to it. But yes, I do say it how I feel.
How did you decide where your story would begin and end?
To be honest, it just came out. I didn't actually write, like I didn't plan to start somewhere specifically. I just remember talking to Andrew and he just said, just write everything down in your head. And I guess for me, all those years of the grief and everything in your head, like, you know, people sat there and people told me, you need to write this down, you need to write that down. And I'm not a writer. So I'd never write. And when I actually started writing, it just all spewed out onto the paper.
You probably had written the book in your head 1,000 times, Jackie.
Maybe. But yeah, so I guess for me, like it did start when I met Lyndon and then obviously right up until now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the hardest chapter for you to write and why?
Definitely talking about the incident and going into the failures on what actually happened and why, because it was a preventable incident. If, you know, I shouldn't have needed to write this. And
He should be here. He should be alive.
Absolutely. Yep. So that was the hardest part to write.
Were there any parts of the story you almost left out?
No,
I
think so, yes. Yeah.
If you've left any out, Jackie, that's in the second book.
That's right.
How did you protect yourself emotionally while writing such a personal story?
The one thing I found when writing the story, and it really, really surprised me, was it was somewhat therapeutic.
Cathartic?
Yeah, and that really surprised me. There was definitely times where I was writing and I was crying and everything else, but I guess it's just another form of therapy. So yeah, for me, yeah, it really surprised me on how cathartic or therapeutic it was.
So speaking about that, did writing the book change your understanding of your own journey when you wrote it down and you reread it? And you've reread it a few times now.
I've reread it quite a few times. Look, I don't think it's changed my understanding. It's almost like you've written the book and then you're reading it back. You're reading someone else's story back. It's a real surreal feeling to know that I've written that.
Now, you've only seen the proof copy at the moment, the proof PDF copy. But even that was emotional, seeing that and reading that.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess for me, it was emotional on so many different levels, but one which I've always said is, and I've written it as well in the book, it's the birth of Lyndon's legacy in a tangible form.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm so proud of, because
I love that line. I just think that is the most beautiful tribute to him. That just captures all of it.
Yeah, and I think, when my kids have children and everything else, and they can show their children, and it really is a legacy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Definitely. Let's just talk about your writing process. I mean, we just kind of brushed on it a little bit there, and, it's cathartic and it just kind of all came out. But did you write consistently, or were there waves when you really felt moved?
No, I think it was consistently. I was very surprised with how quick I wrote the book, and I think that's because it was.
Give us a time on that.
6
People
months.
like to know. 6 months, yeah?
Yep. And I think that was because it was all in my head. So I wasn't, I wasn't sort of thinking things up as I went. I just put everything down.
It was all the true account, which does make it a little bit easier than, say, a fiction book being this being a non-fiction book. How many words is it, Jackie?
Oh, gee, I think it's about 35,000.
Okay, because I couldn't remember.
Okay.
And I looked it up before we had a look at it, before we did this. How did you balance being honest in the book but also protecting your family's privacy?
Our family's privacy did go out the window very early on, because when the incident happened, it was plastered everywhere. We don't have any privacy when you're going through that level of investigations and media just hounding you and everything like that. And also with what I do, because I speak publicly about this now, I tell people the real life ramifications. So I don't really leave anything out.
You're all victims in this, not just Lyndon, but, your lives were changed forever. And a lot of people don't realise that.
Yeah.
All your immediate family, your kids, his parents, your parents, everyone's lives are forever changed.
Oh, absolutely. In a split second.
How did you decide on the tone of the book? Was it just something that naturally came out, or?
Yes. That's just me. That's how I speak. And the writing, or I don't think really, I don't know. I don't think it's got a tone as such.
It's got your tone to it.
Yeah.
It has, definitely. And we didn't over edit your tone out either.
Yeah.
On that. What do you hope readers feel as they move through each chapter?
I hope they feel love and courage to speak up.
Yes, definitely. Was there a message you kept coming back to while writing?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. What does the title of your book mean to you?
It means what I've been through in this last 8 years, even more than that, really, the last 20 years of my life. The book for me, it's a memoir basically of my life and what I've lived, is predominantly obviously overshadowed by the grief and loss and everything with losing Lyndon. But yeah, it's the journey that I have been on, my children have been on, my whole family has been on.
Mm. How did you approach editing such an emotional manuscript? How was the editing process?
It was actually a lot easier than what I thought. There was a lot of comments that I just said, no, I'm happy to leave it as it is, everything like that. Obviously, the one thing in my book is I jump around. So I go from thing to thing, basically. And that is my brain because it is, that's the PTSD, ADHD, that's everything in my brain. So I think the editor was really good with saying, okay, well, this piece belongs up here. And that was really helpful.
We've had a few books like that recently where we've had to change all the paragraphs around.
Yeah.
And it flowed much better once we've done that. So, and thank you for being open when we gave you the edit suggestions there. So we kind of just brushed on it, but what was it like seeing your story? I'm going to say in print because you haven't actually had the paperback copy yet for the very first time.
That was hard because my husband's photo is on there. So it was hard to see, but again, it was beautiful. Yeah, like
coming back to his legacy as well. So.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know
have it into your front cover as well, Jackie. So
yeah,
with that, so it wasn't something that Morpheus went, okay, this is it. This is your final cover. You had input onto changes that you wanted onto that.
Yes.
How have the kids reacted to this?
They're really supportive. Their reactions are slightly different, I suppose, because for them it's not real yet. They know, they've seen the cover, they know, the launch date and everything else, but for them it hasn't happened.
Have they read it yet? Have they read it?
Oh, my daughter has read a little bit of it. My son, I've told him, but no.
And look, he may never read it.
Yeah.
My memoir, as you know, has just recently come out, and I've got family members that won't be reading it. They've said that they won't be reading it, and my son has skimmed over it, and my daughter's only read the chapters that she's in. So you can't make them read it, can you?
I love it.
Right, that just took me 6 years to write, and you've skimmed over it. All right. Okay. Well, maybe your children one day will read what their nana was like.
Yeah.
What do you hope this book will do for others who read it?
I suppose for them, again, it'll give them the power to use their voice in any situation, and it will give them the knowledge of what happens when safety goes wrong. And, hopefully safety will be at the forefront of their minds going forward because it happens so easily and it can certainly be avoided.
It sure can. If someone is thinking about writing their own story, what would you say to them?
100% do it. I think especially for people like us who have lived experience, there's nothing more powerful than lived experience.
True.
You can't learn that stuff from anything, not just this, but from absolutely anything. You can't learn it out of a book, for a textbook or something like that. If you've got lived experience in absolutely anything and you want to write a book, I say 100% go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was your experience like working with me and Morpheus Publishing? Now that's putting you on the spot, Jackie.
Actually, it was very easy, and the process of actually doing that, like yourself and Mylan and everything like that, I feel like I've known you guys forever. For me, especially for obviously writing that story and being so emotionally vulnerable, the time and the effort and everything that you guys have put in has made it so much easier.
Well, that's good to know.
100% recommend you.
No, thank you. And we've loved having you on the journey, helping you on your journey of putting the book out to the world. And I can't wait for your book launch. For those that are listening now, this is a month before the launch, 3 weeks before the launch, somewhere around that. But we wanted to get in and do it early so we'd actually have it. We may pop you back on in 6 months' time and see how your book has been travelling as well. Your book will be available on all online major platforms, so Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Google Books, as well as your own website. Do you want to give your website a plug, Jackie?
Yes, you can reach it at www.jacquelinequinlivan.com.au.
And it's also available on morpheuspublishing.com.au as well. So good luck for your book launch and good luck with the book sales going forward. It will be also available paperback and ebook, Kindle reader. So anyone out there that doesn't buy paperbacks anymore, you can get the electronic version. So thanks for being on Morpheus's Author Spotlight. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, Jackie.
Thank you very much for having me, Justine. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Author Spotlight podcast by Morpheus Publishing. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found inspiration for your own writing journey. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our podcast for more exciting content and author insights. Stay connected with us on social media at Morpheus Publishing and visit our website at www.morpheuspublishing.com.au to discover how we can help you bring your book dreams to life. Remember, don't wait. Take the first step now and turn your dreams into reality. See you next time.